She handed me divorce papers at my father's funeral, while our children stood behind her, ready to abandon my name. What happened next destroyed their perfect plan. Thank you for listening. If this story resonated with you, leave a comment below and subscribe to this channel for more infidelity stories and cheating wife stories on YouTube. The October wind in Denver cuts different when you're burying your father. It's not just cold, it's hollow, like it's trying to fill the space where he used to be. I stood there in my black suit, watching the mechanical winch lower his mahogany casket into Colorado earth. The sound of it, that industrial whir mixed with soft thuds of dirt, clumps hitting polished wood. That's what I'll never forget. My hands were still gritty from the ceremonial first shovel. Dad would have hated the ceremony. All these people in expensive suits pretending they knew him. But he would have loved that his legacy brought them here. Tech executives from Silicon Valley, clients from Seattle, competitors who respected him enough to fly in just to stand in the cold. I was lost in that thought when I felt her presence. Even before I turned, I knew. After 18 years of marriage, you know your spouse's energy. But this wasn't the Rachel I married. This was something else. "Marcus," she said, her voice cutting through the murmur of condolences like a blade through silk. She pressed an envelope against my chest, right over my heart. "Sign these." I thought grief would be my hardest test that day. I was wrong. Right there. 10 feet from where we'd just lowered my father, while his friends were still wiping their eyes. I opened the envelope with dirt literally under my fingernails. Divorce papers. Imagine your wife handing you divorce papers while you're burying your father, while the grave is still open. What would you do? "Are you serious right now?" The words came out broken, like something inside me had cracked. "The timing is strategic," she replied. No emotion, like she was discussing a business merger. "Your father's will transferred significant assets to me as the surviving daughter-in-law. My attorney says it's ironclad." Before my brain could process the calculated cruelty of her timing, I saw them, Nathan and Sophie, my children, standing behind their mother like soldiers awaiting orders. "Dad," Nathan announced, and God help me, he made sure Dad's business partners could hear. "We're changing our last names to Whitmore. We want to live with Mom and Daniel." Sophie, my baby girl who used to fall asleep on my chest watching Disney movies, nodded. "Daniel actually sees our potential. He's not stuck in the past like you." The words landed like punches to the chest, each one calculated, each one meant to wound. My children, renouncing my name at my father's funeral while guests pretended not to stare. Daniel Whitmore, my business partner of 7 years, the man I'd mentored, trusted with client data, invited to family barbecues. As I stood there with grave dirt under my fingernails and my family abandoning me in front of Denver's tech elite, something inside me went quiet. Not angry. Quiet. The kind of quiet that comes before complete devastation. "My name is Marcus Sterling. I'm 55, and for 18 years I've run Sterling Cyber Defense, the company my father built from nothing in his garage. We protect Fortune 500 companies from digital threats. My gift has always been seeing patterns others miss, in code, in systems, in human behavior. Or so I thought. Here's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't happen overnight. It's death by 1,000 cuts. And if you're not watching, you'll bleed out before you even know you're wounded. The signs had been there for months, maybe longer. Rachel started sleeping with her phone under her pillow, said it was for her morning alarm. She'd angled the screen away when texting, like a teenager hiding secrets. Working late became her anthem. But when I'd call her office, her assistant Lauren would say, "Oh, she left hours ago." Then came the credit card charges, $300 dinners at the Capitol Grill downtown when she claimed to be home with a migraine. A $500 charge at Nordstrom on a Wednesday afternoon when she was supposedly in client meetings. New lingerie that never made appearances in our bedroom. But the loneliness, that's what really told the story. Sitting across from my wife at dinner while she smiled through me, not at me, watching her laugh at her phone while I talked about my day. The space between us in bed growing wider, even though we slept in the same king size we'd bought for our 10th anniversary. Some nights, I'd catch her staring at me with this expression I couldn't place. Now I know what it was. She was looking at me like I was already gone, like she was practicing being a widow. Gentlemen, when your wife looks at you like you're already dead, trust that instinct. Your gut knows before your heart admits it. The real alarm bells started with Daniel. Subtle at first, the kind of questions that seemed like normal business conversation if you weren't paying attention. "Hey Marcus," he'd said during a partners meeting in June. "I've been analyzing our portfolio. That Denver real estate collection your dad assembled? What's the current valuation? 20 million? 30? Must be worth more than the company itself by now." Another time, casual as could be. "Your father was brilliant with those early investments. The family trust must be incredible. How's that structured anyway? For tax purposes, I mean." I thought he was making conversation, building rapport. He was mapping my entire financial life like a burglar casing a house. August was when my instincts finally overruled my denial. Our IT department flagged unusual access patterns. Someone was pulling client files and financial records at midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Always Daniel's login credentials, but these were hours when he should have been home with his wife and kids. That's when I made the call that changed everything. Conrad Ellis, ex-FBI, specialized in corporate espionage and fraud. "I need you to look into something," I told him. Quietly. 2 weeks later, Conrad walked into my home office, not the company office, we couldn't risk that, and laid out a manila folder that felt heavier than my father's casket. Photos. Rachel and Daniel at the Four Seasons downtown. Her hand on his arm, his fingers in her hair. The kind of intimate touches that tell a story words can't hide. Multiple dates spanning months. "There's more," Conrad said, and I could tell by his face it was worse than an affair. The more was Victoria Hartley, a probate attorney with a reputation for finding creative interpretations of inheritance law. She specialized in one thing: helping second wives and business partners extract maximum value from family estates. They weren't just having an affair. They were orchestrating the complete destruction of my life. Would you explode right then? Storm home and confront them? Or would you wait and let them bury themselves? I chose to wait, and that choice made all the difference. The hardest part wasn't the betrayal itself. It was what came next, the waiting. My father was dying in Presbyterian/Saint Joseph's Hospital, fighting pancreatic cancer with the same stubbornness he'd used to build his company. Every day I'd sit by his bed, watching him fade, while knowing his beloved daughter-in-law was planning to rob his legacy. "Marcus," he said one afternoon, his voice barely a whisper, "take care of Rachel and the kids. They're going to need you when I'm gone." I held his frail hand, the same hand that taught me to throw a baseball, to shake hands like a man, to build something that matters. "I will, Dad, I promise," he smiled. "And the company, our legacy, keep it in the family. Keep it honest." I wanted to tell him everything, to warn him. But what would that accomplish? Let him die knowing the woman he'd walked down the aisle had betrayed us all? Number. Some truths are too cruel for dying men. So I documented everything instead. Set up monitoring systems that would track any unauthorized access to company funds. Quietly restructured personal assets into protected trusts. Consulted with Patricia Smith, a white-collar crime attorney who'd handled cases for the Department of Justice. "If they execute this plan," Patricia told me, "they'll commit multiple federal crimes. Wire fraud, embezzlement, possibly racketeering. But you need to let them actually do it. Attempted crime is harder to prosecute than completed crime." The waiting nearly broke me. Sitting at family dinners, watching Rachel pass the salt while texting Daniel under the table. Listening to my children talk excitedly about Uncle Daniel's promises. Cars, trips to Europe, a better life than their boring father could provide. Daniel had been grooming them masterfully. Weekend shopping trips with his American Express Black Card, box seats at Broncos games, casual comments designed to poison. Your dad's too conservative with money. Smart people leverage their assets. When I have more influence in the company, you'll see what real opportunity looks like. Sophie came home one day, spinning in a $400 dress from Saks. Daniel says I have expensive taste, just like Mom. He says that's a good thing. Every instinct screamed to shake her, to tell her she was being used. But I couldn't. Not yet. The trap wasn't ready. Here's what I learned in those months of agony. Revenge isn't about rage, it's about patience. Monday morning after the funeral, 7 a.m., I'd been in the office since 5, knowing they'd make their move while they thought I was weak with grief. Janet Morrison, my CFO, knocked on my door with an expression I'd been expecting. "Marcus, we have a serious problem. Someone initiated a $2.5 million wire transfer over the weekend to an offshore account in the Cayman Islands." I pulled up the transaction details on my screen, though I already knew what I'd find. Daniel's digital signature. Saturday's date, 36 hours after we'd lowered my father into the ground. "Freeze everything," I told Janet. "Every external transfer over $10,000. Tell the bank we're conducting an emergency audit." Should I notify Daniel? No, let him discover it himself. 10:30 a.m. Daniel burst through my door without knocking, his usual composure shattered like a mask hitting concrete. "What the hell did you do to our banking systems?" "I have a critical deal that needs funding today." I leaned back, studying him the way I'd study a piece of malicious code. "Really? What deal requires $2.5 million to the Cayman Islands on the weekend of my father's funeral?" His face drained white. In that moment, we both knew the game was over. The predator realized he was the prey. It's for the Morrison Industries account," he stammered. "Caribbean expansion." We discussed it. "Morrison Industries is based in Phoenix, Daniel. They have no Caribbean operations. Try again." He left without another word. That afternoon, I called Patricia Smith. They took the bait. Time to reel them in. Here's what amateurs don't understand about running a cybersecurity firm. Everything leaves digital footprints. And when those devices are company-issued, every text, email, call gets backed up to our secure servers. It's not spying, it's standard security protocol. The FBI's Financial Crimes Unit found their trail easily, like following breadcrumbs if the breadcrumbs were neon signs. Fake consulting contracts, inflated vendor invoices, phantom employees collecting paychecks. Over $900,000 systematically stolen over 6 months, federal felony territory. But the text messages, those were pure gold. Prosecutors love nothing more than criminals documenting their own crimes. "Rachel, the old man finally kicked it. Playing grieving daughter-in-law is easier than I thought." "Daniel, once we control the kids, Sterling won't fight. He's too weak." "Rachel, the kids are useful idiots. Promise them cars, they'll sign anything." When Nathan and Sophie saw those messages, their mother calling them useful idiots, the facade shattered like safety glass. Sophie found me in my home office one November evening. I heard her footsteps on the stairs, hesitant, like when she was little and had nightmares. But this nightmare was real. "Daddy," she sobbed. She hadn't called me that since middle school. "I found Mom's laptop open. I saw the police files. Did they really steal from Grandpa's company?" I held my daughter while she cried, her tears soaking through my shirt. "Yes, sweetheart, they did. But listen to me. Their choices aren't your fault. You were manipulated by people you should have been able to trust." "I'm so sorry, Daddy. I'm so sorry for what I said at the funeral. I didn't mean it. I didn't understand." "I know, baby. I know." Nathan's awakening was more dramatic. He was in the office the day the FBI arrested Daniel. 40 employees watched federal agents lead him out in handcuffs. The hero worship died instantly, replaced by the horror of realizing you'd been played. That evening, Nathan came home and sat across from me in the kitchen, where he'd eaten countless meals. "Dad, I really messed everything up. I betrayed you for a man who was robbing us. How do I fix this?" "You start by learning from it," I said. "Then you help me rebuild what they tried to destroy." The Denver Post headline read, "Sterling Cyber Defense Executives Charged in $800,000 Fraud. Widow and partner targeted dying founder's estate." Our clients didn't flee. They saw it as proof of our security systems. We'd caught sophisticated criminals using our own technology. New contracts poured in from companies worried about insider threats. Rachel's carefully constructed new life collapsed overnight. Assets frozen. The house she'd assumed would be hers. Gone. She moved in with her sister in Aurora, taking a call center job to pay for lawyers. Daniel lost everything: reputation, credentials, freedom. No tech company would touch him. The Stanford MBA meant nothing with a federal conviction attached. Sometimes the universe handles justice more poetically than we ever could. The federal sentencing came 6 months later. I sat in that courtroom in downtown Denver, watching the woman I'd loved for 18 years shuffle in wearing orange. No designer clothes, no carefully styled hair, just the reality of what greed had bought her. Judge Rebecca Lawson didn't mince words. This court has seen many cases of financial fraud. But to systematically rob a dying man while his son grieved, to manipulate children against their father for monetary gain, this represents a profound moral bankruptcy. Rachel Sterling, you are sentenced to 3 years in federal prison. Daniel got 4 years. As they led him away, he tried to catch my eye. I looked through him like he was glass. Sitting in that courtroom, I felt empty. Not satisfied. Not vindicated. Just empty. The woman I'd built a life with, the man I'd trusted as a brother, reduced to federal inmates. Then I looked at Nathan and Sophie beside me, both in their best clothes, both there to support me, and realized they were what mattered. Not revenge, redemption. "Dad," Nathan asked months later as we worked side by side in the office, "how did you stay so calm through it all? How did you not just lose it?" "Your grandfather taught me something," I said, looking at his portrait on the wall. "Emotion makes you stupid. Strategy makes you dangerous. When someone betrays you, you have 2 choices. Explode and make mistakes, or think 3 moves ahead and let them destroy themselves." Today, Sterling Cyber Defense employs over 200 people across 3 states. Nathan graduated summa cum laude with a computer science degree and runs our threat analysis division. Sophie's finishing law school at University of Denver, planning to head our legal compliance department. We created the William Sterling Memorial Scholarship. Dad's name lives on through students studying cybersecurity with strong ethics. The first recipient gave a speech at our company anniversary that made everyone cry, including me. The Sterling name still means something in Denver. It means integrity in a world full of shortcuts. It means family in an age of disposable relationships. It means building something that lasts longer than the people who try to tear it down. Rachel wrote from federal prison last year. Found religion, wants to make amends, asking for supervised visits with the kids. I showed them the letter over dinner, the same dining table where she'd plotted our destruction. "Dad," Sophie said firmly, her mother's determination now serving a better purpose. "Some bridges are meant to stay burned." Nathan nodded. "We have Grandpa's legacy to protect." "Your legacy. Our legacy. That's what matters now." My father used to say, "Character isn't built in good times. It's revealed when everything goes to hell." The worst betrayal of my life became the foundation for our strongest years. Thank you for listening. Like the video and subscribe for more infidelity stories, cheating wife stories, and inspirational stories about finding the strength to start over.